I still can't believe what happened to me 3 months ago. I keep thinking about it every single day. The police told me not to talk about it, but I need to get this out. I need people to know. My name is Maya, worked at this fancy steakhouse in downtown Chicago. The kind of place where a salad costs $28 and men wear suits that cost more than my car. I'd been waitressing there for 2 years, saving up for nursing school. It was a Tuesday night, slow as hell. My manager Dennis told me to go downstairs and grab more wine bottles from the storage cellar. We had this old basement that went down 2 levels. The first level was normal, boxes, supplies, the walk-in freezer. But there was a second level that was always locked. Dennis said it was just old restaurant junk from the previous owners. I went down with my phone flashlight because half the lights were busted. I was grabbing bottles when I heard it. A thump, then another one, like someone knocking. It was coming from below me, from that locked level. "Hello," I called out. The knocking got faster. Desperate. I should have gone back upstairs. But something in those knocks sounded so scared, so human. I looked around and found a crowbar near some paint cans. The lock on the door was old and rusty. It took me 10 minutes, but I got it open. The smell hit me first. Sweat, piss, something rotten. I almost threw up. The stairs going down were wooden and creaked like they'd break. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. At the bottom, there was a small room. Concrete walls. A bucket in the corner. A dirty mattress. And a man. He was chained to the wall by his ankle. Skinny, with a beard down to his chest, wearing clothes that were basically rags. When my flashlight hit his face, he held up his hand to block the light. Like he hadn't seen light in forever. "Please," he whispered. His voice sounded like sandpaper. "Please help me." I froze. I literally couldn't move. This man looked like pictures I'd seen of prisoners in war. His eyes were sunk deep in his face. "Who are you?" I finally asked. "My name is Richard Castellano," he said. "I've been here for 7 years. That name hit me like a truck. Richard Castellano. The billionaire who disappeared back in 2016. They said he ran off to avoid fraud charges. His face was all over the news back then. His family held press conferences. There was a whole Netflix documentary. "That's not possible," I said. "You're dead. Or you ran away." "They took me," he said. "Please. The keys are upstairs. In Dennis's office. Please." My brain wasn't working right. This was insane. This couldn't be real. But I ran upstairs anyway. My heart was beating so hard I thought I'd pass out. Dennis's office was near the kitchen. I'd cleaned it before. I knew he kept keys in his desk drawer. I was looking through the drawer when I heard footsteps behind me. "Maya, what are you doing?" "Dennis." Standing in the doorway. I turned around, and I must have looked guilty as hell because his face changed. His friendly manager smile disappeared. "You went downstairs," he said. It wasn't a question. "There's a man down there," I said. My voice came out all high and weird. "Dennis, there's a man chained up." He didn't look surprised. He just looked tired. "You shouldn't have gone down there," he said. Then he pulled a gun from his jacket. I'd never had a gun pointed at me before. It didn't look like the movies. It looked small and black and so real. "I didn't want this," Dennis said. "I really didn't. You're a good worker, Maya." I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. "He deserves it," Dennis continued. "Richard Castellano. You know what he did? My sister invested her entire retirement with his company. Everything. He stole it. She killed herself. Dennis. 32 people died because of him. Suicides. Heart attacks from stress. But he was going to get away with it. Hide behind lawyers and money. So I made sure he paid. Every single day for 7 years. The gun was shaking in his hand. I realized he was crying. "I'm sorry," he said. That's when I heard the sirens. I hadn't called the cops. I hadn't had time. But someone had. Dennis heard them too. He looked toward the window, then back at me. The gun was still pointed at my chest. "Go," he said finally. "Get out." I ran. I ran so hard and fast I slammed into the back door and almost knocked myself out. I could hear shouting behind me. Police yelling. I made it outside and collapsed on the sidewalk. 3 cop cars were pulling up. Someone from the building next door had called them. They'd heard me breaking down the door, heard the commotion. They found Dennis in his office. He'd shot himself. They found Richard Castellano in the basement, still chained up. He was so weak they had to carry him out on a stretcher. The news went crazy. It was everywhere. Missing billionaire found alive. Waitress hero rescues man from basement prison. They camped outside my apartment. They wanted interviews. Book deals. A movie. But here's the thing nobody wants to talk about. Richard Castellano really did steal from people. Dennis's sister really did kill herself. 32 people really did die because of what he did. And he never spent a day in jail for it. Now he's free again, living in some mansion. His lawyers already got most of the charges dropped because of trauma from his captivity. Dennis is dead. And I can't work at restaurants anymore because I have panic attacks every time I go near a basement. The police called me a hero. The news called me brave. But late at night, when I can't sleep, I think about those 7 years. I think about Dennis crying. I think about Richard Castellano's hollow eyes. And I don't know if I did the right thing. I just don't know. The nightmares started 2 weeks after they found Richard. Same dream every time. I'm back in that basement, but now I'm the one chained to the wall. Dennis is standing over me, but he's not crying anymore. He's smiling. And Richard Castellano is standing next to him, wearing an expensive suit, watching me suffer. I wake up screaming. My roommate Tasha said I should see a therapist. The restaurant's insurance was supposed to cover it, but they fired me a week after everything happened. Said it was for my own safety because of all the media attention. Really, they just didn't want the bad press. So now I was broke, couldn't sleep, and had reporters calling my phone 20 times a day. That's when the letter came. It was delivered to my apartment by a man in a black suit. Fancy paper, the kind that feels thick and expensive. Inside was a handwritten note. Dear Ms. Thompson, I would very much like to meet with you and express my gratitude in person. Please accept this invitation to lunch this Saturday at the Carlisle. All expenses paid, of course. With deepest thanks, Richard Castellano. There was a credit card attached to the letter. A black American Express with my name on it. I threw it in the trash. But Saturday morning, I dug it out. I don't know why I went. Maybe I needed to see him with my own eyes, healthy and free, to know it was real. Maybe I wanted him to look me in the face and say thank you. Maybe I just needed the free meal because I was down to eating ramen and canned soup. The Carlisle was the fanciest restaurant I'd ever been to as a customer. The host looked at me like I was lost when I walked in wearing my best dress, which was a $30 thing from Target. Then I gave him Richard's name, and the guy's whole face changed. They led me to a private room in the back. Richard Castellano didn't look like the skeleton I'd found in the basement anymore. He'd gained weight. His beard was trimmed. He wore a gray suit that probably cost more than my whole year's rent. But his eyes still had that hollow look. Maya, he said, standing up. Thank you for coming. Please sit. I sat. A waiter immediately poured me water in a crystal glass. I wasn't sure you'd come, Richard said. I almost didn't. He nodded. I wanted to thank you personally. You saved my life. Those words don't feel like enough, but why did you send me a credit card? I interrupted. He blinked. I wanted to help. I know you lost your job because of this. I know the media has been hounding you. It's the least I can do. I don't want your money. Maya, do you even remember what you did? The words came out harder than I meant. All those people. Dennis's sister. His face went stiff. I made mistakes in my business. I've paid for those mistakes. You didn't pay shit. I was almost yelling now. The waiter by the wall looked uncomfortable. You were going to walk free until Dennis took you. And now you're walking free again. I was held prisoner for 7 years, Richard said quietly. Chained in the dark. Beaten. Starved. I think I've paid enough. We stared at each other. I came here because I needed to see you, I said. I needed to know if saving you was the right thing. And I stood up. I still don't know. I left the restaurant. I left the credit card on the table. I left Richard Castellano sitting there alone. But when I got home, there was another envelope waiting at my door. Inside was a check for $500,000. And a note. Whether you cash this or not, I owe you my life. Use it, burn it, donate it. The choice is yours. But please take it. RC. I stared at that check for 3 hours. $500,000. I could pay for nursing school. I could pay off my student loans. I could help my mom with her medical bills. I could finally breathe. But it was his money. Stolen money. Blood money. I called Tasha into my room. What would you do? She looked at the check and her eyes went huge. Girl, are you serious right now? Cash that thing. But where'd the money come from? Who cares? You saved his life. You earned this. Did I though? Tasha sat on my bed. Maya, listen to me. You didn't put him in that basement. You didn't steal from those people. You're not responsible for any of that. You found a human being in chains, and you freed him. That's it. That's all you did. Dennis's sister is dead either way, Tasha said. Richard being in that basement didn't bring her back. It didn't fix anything. It just made Dennis a murderer and a kidnapper. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. Cash the check, Tasha said. Take the money. Go to nursing school. Help people. That's how you make this right. I put the check in my purse, but I didn't take it to the bank. Not yet. Because that night, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Maya Thompson? A woman's voice. Who's asking? My name is Caroline Dennis. I'm Dennis's daughter. My blood went cold. I need to meet with you, she said. There's something about my father you need to know. Something about Richard Castellano. Something that changes everything. What are you talking about? Not over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow? Every instinct told me to say no. To hang up. To take the money and disappear. But I heard myself say, where? Caroline Dennis wanted to meet at a coffee shop in a neighborhood I'd never been to. The kind of place with cracked leather booths and coffee that tasted like it was made yesterday. She was already there when I arrived. Mid-30s, dark hair pulled back, wearing scrubs like she'd just gotten off a hospital shift. She had her father's eyes. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. Her hands were wrapped around a mug, shaking slightly. What do you want? I didn't mean to sound harsh, but I was tired. Tired of all of this. I want you to know the truth about my father. I know the truth. He kidnapped a man and kept him prisoner for 7 years. He did, Caroline said. And I'm not here to defend that. What he did was wrong. But you need to understand why. I crossed my arms. He told me already. Your aunt killed herself. My mother, Caroline corrected. Not my aunt. My mother. I went quiet. Her name was Susan. She was a special education teacher. Sweetest woman you'd ever meet. Caroline's voice cracked. She and my dad saved for 30 years. Every penny went into their retirement fund. They were going to travel. See Europe. My mom always wanted to see Paris. She pulled out her phone and showed me a picture. A smiling woman with Caroline's face, standing next to a younger Dennis. Richard Castellano's company managed their fund. He promised them safe investments. Conservative bonds. Low risk. Caroline's hands tightened around her mug. He lied. He put their money in high-risk schemes. When it all collapsed, they lost everything. Every single dollar. I'm sorry, I said quietly. My mom couldn't handle it. She felt stupid. Ashamed. She'd told all her teacher friends to invest with Castellano too. Some of them lost everything too. Caroline wiped her eyes. She took pills. My dad found her in their bedroom. I felt sick. The police investigated Castellano. The FBI investigated him. You know what happened? Nothing. His lawyers buried everything. He paid some fines. Not even $1 million. Pocket change to him. And then he went on TV and said his investors took on risks they understood. That's awful, but what he did was still wrong. Caroline finished. I know. I told him that. I begged him not to do it. But he couldn't let it go. He couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. He kept saying, he's walking free while Susan's dead. She pulled out a folder from her bag and slid it across the table. What's this? Evidence my father collected. Things the FBI ignored. Proof that Castellano knew exactly what he was doing. That he deliberately defrauded investors. I opened the folder. Inside were printed emails, financial documents, stuff I barely understood. But even I could see words like hide losses and mislead investors. Why are you showing me this? Because Richard Castellano is going to get away with it again, Caroline said. He's already on TV playing the victim. His lawyers are suing everyone. The restaurant, the building owner, even you potentially. He's going to walk away richer than ever. What do you want me to do about it? You have a platform. People listen to you. The media wants your story. Caroline leaned forward. Tell the whole truth. Not just that you found him. Tell them what he did. Why my father did what he did. That won't bring your mom back. No, but it might stop him from doing it again. It might give the other families some justice. I pushed the folder back. I can't. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a lawyer. You're the person who saved his life, Caroline interrupted. Which means you're the only person who can tell this story without people thinking you have an agenda. We sat in silence. There's something else, Caroline said. My father left a note. Before he died. He left it with his lawyer, to be given to you. She pulled out an envelope. My name was written on it in shaky handwriting. I haven't read it, Caroline said. That's between you and him. I took the envelope but didn't open it. Just think about it, Caroline said, standing. That's all I'm asking. She left. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the envelope. Finally, I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Maya, I'm sorry you got caught up in this. You seem like a good person. I know what I did was wrong. I know I'll go to hell for it. But I couldn't let him walk free while Susan was dead. I couldn't. Maybe you think I'm a monster. Maybe I am. But ask yourself, what would you do if someone destroyed your family and faced no consequences? What would you do? I hope you never have to answer that question. I hope you have a good life. You deserve it. Dennis. My hands were shaking. I went home and I looked at that check again. $500,000. Then I looked at the folder Caroline gave me. Then I looked at Dennis's note. And I made a decision. I called the one reporter who'd been kindest to me. The one who didn't shove cameras in my face. A woman named Patricia from the Chicago Tribune. Patricia, this is Maya Thompson. I want to tell my story. The whole story. But I need you to investigate something first. Patricia met me the next morning at my apartment. She brought a recording device and a laptop, and she listened to everything. I told her about finding Richard, about Dennis and the gun, about Caroline and the folder. I gave her copies of everything. This is big, Patricia said, looking through the documents. Really big. But Maya, you know what's going to happen if we publish this, right? Castellano's lawyers will come after you. Hard. Let them. You could lose everything. I don't have anything to lose, I said. And it was true. No job, no savings, just a check I hadn't cashed and nightmares I couldn't shake. Patricia spent 2 weeks investigating. She interviewed other investors who'd lost money. She talked to FBI agents who'd worked the original case. She found 3 more families where someone had died, 2 suicides, 1 heart attack, after Castellano's fund collapsed. The article came out on a Sunday. The headline, The Man in the Basement, a Waitress, a Billionaire, and the Question of Justice. It went viral in hours. Patricia didn't paint Dennis as a hero. She called what he did a crime born of grief and rage. But she also laid out everything Castellano had done. Every lie, every stolen dollar, every family he'd destroyed. By Monday morning, my phone was exploding. News shows wanted me. Podcasts wanted me. Castellano's lawyers sent a cease and desist letter. I ignored all of it. Instead, I took that $500,000 check to the bank. I cashed it. Then I called Caroline. I want to set up a fund, I told her. For the families. The ones who lost everything because of Castellano. Caroline was quiet for a moment. Maya, that's his money. Exactly. It should go back to the people he stole from. We worked with a lawyer. A good one who did it pro bono after reading the article. We set up the Susan Dennis Memorial Fund. Every penny of that $500,000 went into it, split among the 32 families who'd lost loved ones. It wasn't enough to make them whole. It would never be enough. But it was something. The story didn't end there, though. 3 months later, the FBI reopened their investigation into Castellano. Patricia's article had put too much pressure on them to ignore it. They found new evidence, new witnesses. People who'd been too scared to talk before came forward. Richard Castellano was indicted on 17 counts of fraud. His lawyers tried everything. They claimed he couldn't get a fair trial because of the publicity. They claimed his kidnapping made him mentally unfit. They even tried to sue me for defamation. Nothing worked. The trial lasted 6 weeks. I had to testify. So did Caroline. So did 12 other families. The jury took 4 hours to find him guilty on all counts. Richard Castellano was sentenced to 23 years in federal prison. I was in the courtroom when they read the verdict. Richard looked right at me. I couldn't read his expression. Anger, resignation, regret. I looked back and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No relief. Just tired. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed me. How do you feel? Do you think justice was served? Do you regret saving his life? I thought about that last question for a long time. No, I finally said. I don't regret it. I found a human being in chains and I freed him. That was the right thing to do. What happened after? The trial, the conviction. That's what was supposed to happen 7 years ago. Through the legal system. Not in a basement. What about Dennis? Someone shouted. Do you think he was wrong? Yes, I said. What he did was wrong. But I understand why he did it. And I think that's what scares me the most. That I understand. I went home after that. Tasha had made dinner. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and garlic bread. We ate and watched trashy TV and didn't talk about billionaires or basements or justice. I start nursing school in the fall. I'm paying for it with money I saved from working double shifts at my new waitressing job. It's at a diner this time. Single level. No basement. Sometimes I still have the nightmares. Sometimes I still think about Dennis's letter, about his question. What would you do? I don't have an answer. But I know this. I did what I could. I saved a life. I told the truth. I tried to help the families. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't bring anyone back. But it's something. And sometimes, something is all we can do.